Hey everybody, Ranjan here, bringing y'all another StarCraft commentary. Lost Saga MSL goes on and on and on as the wheel spins, and this is going to be the second set of Group F. I almost said something quite epic and poetic, but I decided not to. TP for you guys, TVP, TP.
TP? You have some TP for my bangur?
Right.
I am Cornel.
Okay, no. No. Once again, baby. Yes. NaDa, come on, NaDa. Tornado Terran, baby. Yeah. This guy definitely, wow, he put up a great performance against Tempest in the first game, and if he just keeps playing that, keeps playing the good macro game, he's definitely going to be able to beat Tempest, I believe. He just had very good macro going throughout the entire game, just did overall very well, and just didn't let Tempest keep up with him. So if he continues playing that kind of game, it doesn't let Tempest cheese his way to victory, then I definitely think he'll be successful and manage to move on to the round of 8. I really would like to see him move on to the round of 8. Savior's already there, so it would be nice to see NaDa there as well, like the older players doing well. I mean, I would love to see those guys go even further, you know, possibly even get into the semifinals. I think that would be a treat. Tempest himself, despite being a fairly new kind of rising player, still not bad. He has so far only losses in the round of 16 in the MSL, but obviously being 2-0'd his first time through last season, I believe, or the season before last. I'm not quite sure whichever it was. But he still has a chance here against NaDa as long as he takes back 2 games. And I think going the cheese route will not win him this. Overall, I don't think people are going to be very careful around cheese with him. 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I think, you know, people realize that Tempest could cheese a bit, so they're going to be very careful and scout around for cheese against Tempest, especially on maps that, you know, allow some cheese. This is one of them. Neo Harmony. In blue or light blue, we're going to have NaDa as the Terran at 11 o'clock. And at the upper right, 1 o'clock. In orange, as the Protoss, we're going to have Tempest. Neo Harmony, fairly even between. Actually, I believe that Terrans have a somewhat advantage again on this map. You know, it's a map that has a lot of ridges, and what's very, very bad for Protoss in this map is that Dragoons have a hard time moving through those temples. Well, they specifically had a very, very hard time on the old Harmony, but they fixed it up a little bit, so there would be a little bit more maneuverability. But Terrans do have more victories on this map than Protoss, so it's definitely slightly more Terran map. There are more kind of harassment ways for them to do. What Protosses have over Terrans is that this map can be dropped upon. The main is a little bit hard to drop on, but your other bases can be harassed pretty easily, and there's a decent, like, short distance between the main and the natural, so if you just fly around with those between those bases, you can do some pretty decent harassment. There's enough space behind the mineral line to get some harassment going, also to keep a scout alive in case that's what you do. First gateway now coming up for Tempest, and we're going to see a barracks fairly soon from NaDa. Well, first of all, he's going to send out a SCV. That's pretty smart. You got to send out SCVs this early on for these 4-player maps, and NaDa luckily is going to get a very early scout, and I'm not seeing any scout meanwhile being put down by Tempest now getting his assimilator, so I'm assuming gateway into Cybernetics core into second gateway. Just pretty standard there. First barracks are coming up from NaDa. But yeah, this map is pretty Terran favored. Terrans have more places to siege their tanks and kind of hold off, not allow the flanking positions that Protosses desperately want against Terrans. Should be able to Protosses want to kind of box Terrans in and attack, if at all possible, from more than one location, kind of get a decent surround going, so that, especially with a large force of Dragoons, so they can just barrel in from several sides, so that tank splash damage doesn't completely overtake them. And on this map, tanks can have places, pretty good positioning, where they can prevent that. Tempest now setting out a scout, apparently at a cross position, at the lower right, and he's going to scout NaDa very, very late. NaDa getting an early scout, good for him. So Tempest has the Cybernetics care going, has gas mining, so he should be either go for quick range or get the first Dragoon out there to prevent the SCV scout, but he's definitely also going to pop down another gateway soon. First factory now coming down from NaDa. Just look forward to seeing what kind of builds we're going to see, whether NaDa goes for a quick expansion, whether it goes for an FD push. He's mining very, very little gas at this moment, so we're going to see what he does with that. He could be thinking of going for an expansion or getting ready for a second factory afterwards. Looking at the poll, most people think that NaDa will actually take this match, and honestly I agree with this. I thought NaDa would 2-1 but Tempest, but with these maps that he has, how maps fell for him here, then I definitely think he's going to have a little bit of an advantage. He should be able to take this match on this game. Of course, I'm not going to count Tempest out. He's a very good player, all good micromanagement player, so in large battles he can definitely do his job. We're going to see, I've seen him micromanage small, like 1-2 troops at the same time. He's, just a small amount of troops, and he does that very well. But I look forward to seeing how I haven't seen him micromanage large armies very well, but that's not his forte. Managing large armies in a mass conflict, in a mass battle down the middle, and meanwhile also macroing up robotics facility, fairly early robotics facility going down from Tempest, so there's a bit of a deviation from the regular bit. He's going to try to get some economic harassment out pretty early. The SCV scout's going to try to get through, but that's not going to happen. There's one Dragoon on that ramp, and the SCV scout overall, he is going to spot the fact that there is no any new Nexus. SCV trying to get through, but all in all not going to be possible. Those two Dragoons there. Robotics facility is going to be up, so we're going to see what it is that he tries to drop. Some Marines in position meanwhile now for NaDa. He's also getting his second factory, so he's not going to fast bend right away, possibly even thinking of putting down some sort of pressure. I'm going to get 2 factories going. He has some tank, he has some Marines as well. Meanwhile now Tempest apparently thinking of expanding at this point. He got to be careful with that. He definitely needs a few more Dragoons so he can defend that. Because if NaDa decides to push in, it's going to be very dangerous. First observatory now out, almost ready now, before robotics support. So we're not going to see any Reavers anytime soon if that is his plan. He might actually be thinking of something different. Zella drops work pretty well. Many players go for Dark Templar drops against Terrans, and that's very effective, especially if you get it out early. But at that point, you would have put down your Citadel of Adun just as soon as you put down the robotics facility. So I'm assuming that's not what it is. Meanwhile, there are pretty decent Dragoon positioning from Tempest. He's just looking for any scouts, making sure there's not being scattered. And of course, NaDa at this point has no idea what's coming his way. Second gateway now being put down by Tempest. There are some vultures down on the ground. They have mines at this point, so that's going to be very effective. He's not going to allow any sort of push, but meanwhile, he is going to go out with those vultures and the tank and those 4 Marines. He's going to try to put in some early pressure, just see what it is. And those vultures should definitely be able to help him out because he has those mines on him. And he's going to now barrel down on these Dragoons. There are 3 Dragoons, 5 Dragoons in position to defend this, and this is going to push NaDa back. We're going to see speed and ready for the vultures. Vultures going in from the flank, going to try to move into the base. Not going to happen. They're just going to start planting mines. And see how overall good job they do. Pretty decent. 1 Dragoon now goes down. Vultures moving in again, barreling down, planting some mines. There is a tank there as well, and 1 Marine still alive. Vultures there as well. And it is going to push Tempest up his ramp a little bit. And Observer, meanwhile, now is out. Wow, Tempest doing a good job. Just getting the early observatory out. Not actually planning for any early harass. Just getting those early observers out so he can counter these mines that will be coming his way. Expected those mines. Mines might actually come off. Some mines trying to... Oh, 1 mine goes off on 2 Dragoons, but don't quite kill them. And I think that's not enough mines, but those tanks and vultures are going to try to... This tank is not being retreated there, and NaDa's going to lose that 1 tank. That's going to be very bad for NaDa there. He has lost all of his ground forces. Tempest has kept a large amount of those. Mines being wasted, so Tempest reacting very well, knows that NaDa is very good with his vulture harassment, with getting early vultures out there. I totally misread what he had, his intentions there. I thought he might be going for some early harassment, but instead just getting the early observer to counteract those mines, which can be so effective. Engineer Bay now coming up for, as well as an armory from NaDa, so he's going to try to get some turrets there on the ground. Also, he's going to, of course, use the engineer as a scouting building, but just in case, of course, turrets are very important that they spot those things for you. Meanwhile now, NaDa, when I said things, I meant observers. NaDa, meanwhile, going to run around, plan a mine, and he's going to know of that second expansion that Tempest has put down at the 2:30 o'clock, something like that. And overall, he's going to try to prevent that, as well as it can be one on mine. Turrets being put out in locations, try to catch observers going, as well as prevent any sort of drops. Vultures running around, preventing places, putting mines out in positions so that nexuses cannot be planted proper. mine there in position. It's not going to allow the Dragoon to move forward. One turret goes up, he should be able to. One mine goes off on Dragoon. Doesn't kill it though. One mine is not enough. Observer barely manages to survive against that one turret. Meanwhile, more turrets being full location, and the engineer going to be pulled away. Starport now also coming up for NaDa. Yeah, already has his natural also mining. And that 2 o'clock base from Tempest is going to be walled off with some pylons, so that's very smart of him. Of course, probes can get through those pylons fairly easily, but ground units, enemy units, can't. So that's very good for the mine. Going off on a Dragoon, not doing, I think, its full damage, but taking off all the shields and quite a bit of the health. Observer running around, managing to survive against those turrets. So pretty decent, massive grouping of forces now there of Dragoons.